What makes Apple M-series chips special? Why do MacBook feel fast and still have great battery life? Introduction. Hi, my name is Tay. I'm a fourth-year electrical engineering student at UCR. This is the table of contents. Gonna talk about my experience and then talk about ISA, CISC, and RISC, and then three reasons why Apple chips are special, and then one example, and then recap. In my junior year, I took E106, Intro to Robotics. That class required Linux plus ROS, which is robot operating system. My MacBook M1 couldn't run the software we needed. I ended up buying a separate Intel laptop just for that class because um that Ubuntu was only for x86 architecture. The M1 Mac uses ARM architecture. The old Linux and ROS was built for x86. In other words, Apple Silicon and x86 speak different languages. So the software was built for a different kind of processor. That made me ask what is actually different about Apple's chip. So first, we're going to talk about ISA. ISA stands for Instruction Set Architecture. You can think of it as one language computer speak. For x86, it's a traditional PC language. And ARM is a phone, tablet, Apple Silicon language. Who made x86? x86 was built by Intel and AMD. They're commonly used in desktops, laptops, and servers. For ARM, it was built by ARM Holding Company. They're commonly used in Android phones, iPads, and newer Windows laptop, Apple laptops. A program built for one ISA usually cannot run directly on another. So you can use VM to virtually run the software. That's one another way. CISC versus RISC. CISC stands for Complex Instruction Set Computer, and RISC stands for Reduced Instruction Set Computer. These are design differences. So x86 is an example of CISC, and then Apple M series are example of RISC. So CISC design is bigger, more complex instruction style, and then RISC is simpler instruction style. For CISC, x86 processors are example of CISC. They're strong compatibility with older software, and they're very common in traditional PCs. On the other hand, RISC is an example of ARM processors. It's designed for much simpler operations. Since they're simple, they're easy to make it power efficient. That's why the new M series laptops are very good in battery life. But Apple M series are RISC, and then Apple's real advantage comes from its chip design. So reason number one why Apple M series are special is system on a chip, also called SoC. For traditional laptops, each component is separate, so the data travels between them. So for a laptop, there's CPU, there's RAM, there's GPU, and auto controllers. These components are separate, so data has to travel between them. But on the other hand, Apple M series, CPU, GPU, and the neural engine, media storage, security controllers are all in one chip. So the shorter paths for data and better speed and efficiency. For Apple, more parts are integrated into one chip, and on the traditional laptops, each component is separate. Because more data has to move, it uses more power too. Reason number two why Apple M series are special is unified memory architecture. Unified memory architecture means one shared memory space, and then it is less weighting and less wasted power. So for traditional design, CPU and GPU use separate memory space. Because they're separate, they have to copy and paste like back and forth. So data need to be copied back and forth, and then that takes a lot of time and extra power. Like think of it as a passing paper back and forth. On the other hand, Apple M series, think of it as a one big whiteboard. CPU, GPU, and other engine can access the same memory pool. So less data copying is needed and it's faster for graphics and videos. It's also better for power consumption and more efficient. Reason number three why Apple M series are special is specialized engines. So Apple has Neural Engine and Media Engine. Neural Engine helps with machine learning tasks and is used for image processing, voice features, and AI tasks. And for Media Engine, it helps with video encoding and decoding. It makes video editing faster and more efficient. That's why um, the M series are faster for video editing. You can think of CPU as general workers, and you can think of Neural Engine and Media Engine as a specialized engines or expert workers for one job. So this is an example, editing a 4K video. For traditional PCs, video work is less tightly integrated. CPU handles general instructions and helps with video tasks. GPU handles graphics and helps with video processing. And it has a CPU and GPU have a separate memory, so they have to copy and paste more between parts. As a result, it consumes more power. But on the Apple side, it has Media Engine, which handles video encoding and decoding. So CPU handles general instruction and GPU handles graphics. And the unified memory reduces copying between parts. So it reduces copying between CPU, GPU, and then Media Engine because the Media Engine handles video encoding and decoding. So as a result, it uses less power and the editing is much more smooth. And this is the final recap. Why M series is special. Number one, ARM ISA. It's an efficient instruction style. So it's very simple language compared to x86. So it consumes less power and more efficient. Number two, system on chip, SoC. This is huge because CPU, GPU, and other engines are on one chip, unlike the traditional x86. So for traditional x86, CPU, GPU, memory, and other stuff are on a separate parts. Number three, unified memory, one shared memory pool. Because it uses unified memory, it copies less, it weight less, and then also less wasted power. Number four, specialized engine. Dedicated hardware for a specific job.